everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. Today we're working on my very first Advent calendar. So I had this really kind of cute plaid material, and it's just red, and it's got a little bit of silver line into it, and this is the only chunk that I had. So I thought, how can I make this into a Advent calendar? Just choosing something plain. I didn't have to have any fancy fabric or fancy Christmas fabric or anything else like that. Just something that I thought how I can change it into something different, right? So what I did is I embroidered all my numbers from 1 to 25, and I had this space here, so I thought, okay, if I did 5 rows of 5, that gives you 25, right up to Christmas Day. And then I just did them in the order, though you could sort it all out, and there's 1 here and 2 here and 5 and 6 and all over the place. That's completely up to you. So what I did is I ended up taking this part here, once I found out that I could have enough to space out on this piece of fabric here, is take it and do like a little fold and tuck and bring it up. And that's what's actually creating my pocket. I'm actually using the fabric itself to make my pocket. And then I'm just going to do a little couple of stitch lines, like that's the size for 3, 2's about the same, 1's about the same, it's, some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller. You can, put gift cards or little, trinkets or something like that. It doesn't always have to be candy, but there's lots of stuff that would fit in there. And then once I have it lined up to where I positioned I want it, I'm just going to do some little stitches. And then I'm going to add my other row here that I have, 21 to 25. Place it down in here, and then I'm going to do my little zigzag at the top and fold that over and make all my pockets. So it is not a huge one, but you can certainly make it as big or as small as you like, and you can make it into the shape of a tree just by putting, a star at the top, and then you go 2, and then so on and so forth to build it out. It becomes 25 at the bottom. I think the 25 ends up being like the trunk of the tree sort of thing, right? Okay, so just think about it. You can do lots of planning. You could do it in a big wreath style. You can mix and match it. You can number it in the same section that I am. It's, whatever tickles your fancy. Okay, so that's what we're going to finish up today. So I have 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 already zigzagged down. I need to proper placement of 21 through 25 and get those zigzagged down as well, and then we can start sewing down some lines here, okay, to make some pockets. All right, and they're not too deep. They're about, 3-4 inches, about there. I'd say maybe 2.5 to 3 inches. Okay, and I used the pattern of this plaid to help aid me in building my pockets. I mean, why not make the fabric work for you, right? So I made sure that my next number was placed within a couple of little lines of these decorative lines down here on my fabric, and then I'm just going to pin each one as I go along. Okay, so we need 5 little pins. Oops, and 1 on the floor. It's always the way. Okay, and then we're going to zigzag the top and then zigzag the bottom. Make sure we're putting them in the right order. But if you had them all mixed up, that's even fun too. Of course, it gives the kids always, which one's next? Which one's next? Which treat do they get to open? Okay, 22, and then 23. I'm trying to make it right into the center of this white and black plaid. Okay, very simple. And you could have just a marker and fabric, and using that little number template that you can get from, like Staples or Michaels or whatever, or even just have the kids, write out each number. I think would be a great memory to be able to either just do it with a Sharpie marker, that's, or even with glitter paint, like a glitter glue sort of thing. That would be kind of cool as well, having all that little sparkle on there, little extra bling bling. Know what I mean? Yeah, don't let pictures limitate you. You think what you would like of your own and implement it. Okay. All right. So now those 4 or 5, are pinned down. I'm going to do a zigzag on either side. So I'm going to come down first 1 row and then the next row, and then we'll roll this up and do the little stitch them all the way. Okay. All right. All right. So get some sewing now. I think I have to turn it to zigzag. Did I? No, I wasn't. Sorry, 1 second here. Do a small stitch, take it down right to like 6 or 0.7, and then stretch it out a bit to like 3.5. Just make sure you get a nice big zigzag. Hopefully that snowman's not in the way. Okay. All right, so let's do some ziggity zaggities here. You can always put chalk marks, you know, build it out, maybe make a fun pattern, maybe make a snowman. There's lots of, you know, shapes and styles that you can go with for Christmas. Make a shape like a stocking, or make each one a stocking and hang that up with a little, you know, clothespin or something on a board. Just think about it for 5 minutes, and I bet you'll come up with 100 ideas. And lots of things that you can get the kids help with, right? You know, they're going to want their input on it too, right? So try and just get the one side first, and then I'll turn my fabric around and get the other side. I'm just zigzagging right on the edge of that white, right onto my background fabric, okay? Their shape. Make sure they're straight, sorry. And I just use little squares. I mean, but you could have made hearts, you could have made stars, you could have made anything you like out of your fabric, right? Felt is definitely one that you can use, and it's very economically inexpensive at usually the dollar store, even the fabric store. You can buy, you know, sometimes 10 squares for a couple of bucks, and it'd be amazing how far those 10 squares get you in like making shapes and stuff like that. So, you know, you can make stockings, or, you know, anything the kids want to make snowflakes, you know, make each day a different pattern. I mean, and then the numbers on it. So, you know, you can use glitter and sequins and ribbons, and even just a regular old just marker. It's not going to take away from the unique specialness of the gift itself, right? You can put numbers on paper bags and put trinkets in it and hang it up with clothespins, and I'm sure somebody would be quite happy. Okay. All right, so let's just trim our little taily hairs off there. And then we will do some pinning and give ourselves a couple of rows to stitch down so we can finish this off. So what this tutorial is I'm trying to do is make a advent calendar, and then I'm going to quilt it and bind it all within this tutorial, okay? So here I have my third row is already pinned, okay? And this is what my back looks like, just so you can kind of see it. It's just a little wave. These are where the pockets are, and that's where the little trinkets are going to sit in on the inside, okay? So that's the back. So that's just pinned, lining up my plaid to the point I'm keeping straight. I'm not doing this little wonky angle or going this way or that. I'm trying to be nice and consistent, so holding it in place. Okay, so let's grab some more. Apologize. Okay, and then we're going to take a pinch, and I was just having a couple of these little colored bars. You know how it's just the break between the red and the white there? And then I was just pulling it up, so it was just under the other number, but still gave me my depth of pocket I was looking for, and keeping these squares somewhat even in size. I mean, that's up to you, and you're going to have to do your measuring and stuff. Okay. Or you can make all sorts of different size pockets. There was one out there too that had like big pockets and little pockets and all sorts, and just I thought, oh, that's kind of fun too, you know. Just think about it, and you can make something really special. Okay, so I'm just pinning here, there, and kind of everywhere to make sure things are going to stay even. Actually, I want to bring that over just a little bit. There we go. And line up what visual lines you have to help aid you with your fabric. You know, if you didn't know what to do with a Christmas panel, or like a big chunk of, I don't know, let's say moose fabric or something like that, this is a great way to use it up, and a great way to give a gift for somebody, you know. Or even jean. You can just do plain jean fabric and, use chalk markers to create all sorts of Christmas themed items on the outside, like trees and snowflakes and snowmans and all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, so now that's my my first row's done, second row's done, third one's pinned, fourth one's pinned, and then now the fifth 5th one. And then that way I can just do a nice straight line down these last 3 rows, okay? And again, making sure I'm pulling it up to the point where I'm giving this a nice kind of even square for the number. And it's not huge. I'm not making ourselves a big one, though it could be huge. You know, that's up to you. The only limitation is your imagination. Okay. All right, and then just do some pinning. It's always better to pin too much than to pin too little, I think. So let's pin some more. I can't believe the countdown's on. It's just like matter of just a couple of weeks away. So very, very exciting. So I better get shopping, or at least crafting and making. Not much of a shopper. I like to make stuff. The question is, what can I make? So this has been something I've wanted to have for our family for quite some time. And something that we can make ourselves, right? And then we can fill it up with all sorts of goodies. And, you know, the person who's up first gets to pick, or gets the day. So that'll be the battle between Pop and I. All right, so now that's all pinned out. We're gonna sew in a straight line down this little section here. You can kind of see where you were before to section out your pockets. I kind of stuck to the visual craft line, or the manufactured line of the fabric between the white and the red checkered, and then just sew there. And then this one I kind of just came a little close there to even make sure I was giving myself an even pocket. In this one I didn't really want to shortchange that one by coming on either side. So, you know, you can do whatever you like. You're going to make sure the middle ones and the end ones are big, and the, you know, there's only so many small ones, okay? All right, so put that there. Now slide this into the machine. Like I say, change it to a straight stitch if you haven't already. Okay, and I just normally just keep it to the stitch that the machine is designed for when it goes to straight stitch, and mine's 2.4, so I just leave it there. All right, so that is sewn, and I want to make sure I'm following the line. I'm going to shift over my fabric just a little bit here. And I hope this is something that you take on. You know, they don't have to be extravagant. They can just be some Werthers, you know, caramels and a couple of chocolates or something like that. It's just a nice little treat, right? Doesn't have to be, you know, big and extravagant every day. Okay, so that's one section. I'm going to work my way from right to left. Okay, and then remembering where I was leaving off with my previous ones to make sure I'm kind of being consistent to keep them all the way down. Okay, move that off to the side there, make sure I'm lining things up. Again, flipping that up, making sure I'm lining things up, and then coming on straight down. Okay. You know, little box cars or Hot Wheels cars would fit perfectly in these little pockets. There's lots of little things that would fit perfectly in the pockets, little mints, you know, small bags of, you know, little candies, or even just a small pack of pencil crayons, or a couple of erasers, or, you know, things people need, right? Okay. Now moving over in between the next row. Try and take your pins out as you go so they're not, you know, holding you back. Okay. And you're not getting caught up on anything. Okay, a little back stitch, a couple more little rows. And then I'm going to place this on my batting and backing, which is just plain white. And then I'm going to show you if you wanted to do pockets in the back on your backing to maybe put like a rod and then hang it from there without having any ties at the top or little loops at the top, or the loops on the top, whichever one you want to go for. So we will be actually doing the one that is for the pocket rod, but just giving you other options. Okay, you can finish it off several ways, and then we'll show you how to do the binding real quick. Little flip and stitch. So sew it on and flip it over and stitch it down. Okay, and then one more stitch line to make sure I'm sectioning off my first sets of pockets. Okay. And then we'll place it on the batting and stitch it down in a couple of spots. It doesn't have to be major. I mean, you could put your walking foot on for that. That's a good thing for you to use for your walking foot. Okay. And you're just you're just getting it down. You're just trying to attach the two together, okay? All right, now I have all my pockets done. Okay, there we go. Like I said, it's not a huge calendar. You don't need a massive, but if you want a massive, go ahead. Okay, so now I'm going to try and place this in the middle, or not in the middle, but you know, towards the top, because I gave myself extra because I wasn't sure exactly what size this was going to be. Okay, and then just kind of wiggle it and woggle it till it's straight, or it looks straight. And you can put some pins in to hold it all down, and then you can just do some stitches across here, you know, wherever, just to keep it all together. Okay, you don't need a lot. You just need a couple. Okay, all right. So that looks pretty good. Let's put a few pins in, just to make sure we're staying in the pile here. Let me cut some of this excess off here. Okay, we don't need that. Save for something else. Okay, that looked like it was shifting a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, and a little bit to the right. Okay, there we go. Flip this out, put a few pins in. For some reason this one edge wants to roll over here. Sure. Snaggles. Okay. Okay, and then just pin it. Keep it nice and flat. You can see you don't need a lot of stitches, just a few to hold it all together, and you know, to make sure it's going to stay as one unit on the wall. Okay, and then we'll square it up a bit and put the binding on. Okay, so there's that one. I'm going to tug this down a little bit in this corner. A little flippy-loo. Okay. And then you could say you can use ribbon, you can use some yarn, you know, leather straps, or, you know, even just chunks of fabric, you know, whatever it is you want to be able to hang this up. So you can hang it on a big old-fashioned stick or something, you know, something your family's had around forever. Okay. Okay, so look a little straight to me. I'm coming down on this one. All right. Okay, so now it's just pinned, just with a couple of little normal pins. If I get that one to stay. All right. Now, like I say, you can follow your lines again to secure it on, or just do a couple of straight lines. It's whatever's up to you that's going to get the job done, okay? I'm going to come a little closer to the top here. And this is where I could have put the word December, you know, maybe even the year we started this, or something like that, or the, you know, whatever year it's being given, or the family name. You know, I could put Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, or whatever. You know, it's up to you. You know. And we are going to bind this, and I have a nice gray color. I was thinking red, but you know, I couldn't quite find the exact match for the red, so you know what, I thought, you know what, I'll just do gray. Gray would be pretty. Okay, So we'll do that one there. Move this one over here. I'll just put like 3 in so you kind of get an idea. And you can always quilt more. It's up to you. You can put cross hatching. You can, you know, do whatever you desire, okay? Just want to keep it together as one unit between the front and the batting and the back. And it, you know, if you had something jean, just roll the edges on the jean and then just hang it on the wall. You don't even have to, you know, quilt it or anything. That's up to you, you know. If you don't want to put that much effort into it, you know, or you have, you know, some thick jean that, you know, you don't want to even quilt. So, or corduroy, good way to recycle corduroy. I saw lots of advent calendars in the shape of trees, which I thought was really pretty. I thought it was very nice to see that. Okay, and then this last line here, I'm just going to kind of come right under the numbers, but not take away any from the pocket. Okay, hopefully you can see that with the other fabric kind of getting in the way. Sorry. And then we'll square it up and put the binding on. Okay. And you could just spray adhese this too if you didn't want to use the pins. You know, that's up to you. Just use a, what is it, 505? I believe that's 5. There's many things actually. There's been a couple of natural ones out there between Elmer's glue and water, and just, you know, spraying it on. Question is to finding the right spray bottle that's going to be able to spray the water down Elmer's glue. Okay, all right, so that just kind of holds the 2 pieces together. It's a little quilt sandwich. So I'm going to take my pins out here and do some squaring up and then add the binding. Okay, and in the process of adding the bind is where you decide what sort of, how you're going to hang it. Okay, what sort of hanger is going to be going on. Okay, whether it be the little corner pockets, and I'll show you as we get to that part of what I'm talking about. Okay, just in case you may be slightly confused right now. Okay, all right, so cute, adorable. You can always bling this up with little snowflakes and, you know, knickknacks and all your favorite things, or even your favorite Christmas brooches or something like that. You don't know what to do with them. You don't always wear them all the time. This is a great place to display those sorts of things. You know, I was very inspired by my friend Janice. She came over the other day and showed me something, and I thought, oh, you know, that's quite lovely. I really, really like that. Okay, so let's square this up a bit. Okay. Try and keep to the same part of the pattern. Might be a little wonky, but you know, so is life. Life's a little wonky. Okay. And put a nice straight line over here. And back over here. Do, 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 do. Can't believe it's already December. I was like, where did November go? You know? Out the window, I tell you. Okay, and then now to even it up here, and I'm going with what my pocket line is, because that's going to be my more visual one that's going to be bothering me, right? So could be a little bit on the weird angle. It's my advent calendar. Can do what I want with it. All right, move that there. Straighten it up just a smidge. Okay. All right. So those can go to the scrappy pile. And there we go. Okay. I think that might be a little high on the one side. Whatever. Okay. Now for the binding. What you want to do is, if you're going to do a stitch on binding instead of hand stitching it, you want to start at the back, somewhere in the middle-ish, and work your way to the front by doing your proper corner folds and so on and so forth. But this would be the time where you would slip in your little ties. If you had little ties, you would put them right here underneath your binding. So when this gets flipped to the front, like that, the tie is on the inside and is there available to hang up. So I'd put it somewhat, maybe a 1/2 inch from each corner, and then maybe a middle one, you know, that's completely up to you. And you just want to make sure you're doing the proper placement as you're going along. If you want to do the corner ones, which is what we're going to be doing, is you just take a square of fabric. This is just 8 inches by 8 inches, and I folded it from corner to corner to give me that little, you know, croissant turnover sort of look, okay? And then that goes up in this corner right here, and you're just going to line it up with your backing fabric, the corner and everything. And then once again, as you sew your binding on, you sew it here and there, and you're enclosing those raw edges, and then you got a nice little pocket to be able to stick a rod, a stick, or whatever, you know, you want to put in there to help hang it up as a wall hanging without seeing any ties, okay? So that's what we're going to end up doing. So I'm going to put that in my corner right there on the back side. I'm just going to hold it in place with the pin until I get the binding where I want it, okay? I'll make sure I'm doing the right side. Would that be funny if I did it upside down? Be so a Laura Lynn thing. Your advent calendar is awesome, but it's upside down. It's not going to hold candy very well. Okay, now hopefully if my corners are square-ish, it will fit. Okay, there. Oops. Beating up my sewing machine and dropping pins left, right, and center. Where that? Oh, there. Okay, it's under the wheels. Okay, so there. All right, now when you go to put on your binding, mine's just folded in half, okay, and I did a little press. I usually start and stop on one of the side seams, not the bottom, not the top, because that's normally where your eye wants to be drawn to, okay? So we're going to give ourselves a nice little non-machined edge there, and we're just going to place it where we need it, and we're going to move that pin there. And we're going to move this pin there to hold it in place as we start, and then we're going to flip and turn, and then I'll show you how to finish off the binding very easy as we go around, okay? So I'm trying to make this a kind of a whole project so everybody can see what's going on, okay? Put those down there. Okay. Now just a regular stitch. When you start, you want to start maybe, I don't know, about 5-6 inches away from the starting of your binding, okay? Because that's going to give you the opportunity to be able to line this up and make a nice little smooth edge, very similar to the one that's here, okay? You want to keep everybody consistent, all right? I'll show you how to do that. So like I say, start a bit down. I'm going to start on the triangle, okay? Pop, could you message Munchkin that Clives wants to come in? Sorry, I hear him meowing like crazy. Oh, okay, thanks Munchkin. Sorry, I didn't realize you were up here. Okay, so you just want to fold. I'm going to show you in the small camera here that it's just a quick little fold. It's like making a little triangle, making that little flat part, making sure it's like a nice angled corner, and then turning it, and then starting again, 1/4 inch away, okay? And then just come all the way along. Of course, don't sew over your pins. It's not super cold outside. I was just worried because I can hear him meowing, so I don't want him to think he's not loved. Such an overprotective pet parent. Alright, so we're just going to flip. Hey, buddy. Happy to be inside? Yeah, you are, aren't you? Hey, gonna come say hi? Come on. No. Got sleepy eyes. Me go sleep on my pedal. It's a little puff pillow. Alright, so we're just going to keep sewing all the way along. Stop 1/4 inch away. Take my pin out. Do the little flip and turn with the binding. Okay, hopefully you can see that in the camera and I'm not making The big fat hand's in the way. Okay, and then again, sewing all the way down, making sure to take this one out. All right, making sure we're not losing anybody in the folding of the fabrics here, the way they are laying. I figured by putting the corner pockets in would give a little bit more stability to the wall hanging, because I don't know how, you know, if I want to put heavy things in there or light things or whatever, but it's giving me the option to, you know, be able to have maybe something a little bit heavier if I want to be able to, without ripping it off the wall. Okay. All right, and again, just taking a little fold and flip on each corner. There we go. Just fiddle with it till you get it. Okay. All the way around. Now you could always just flip the back to the front and do like a little self-binding, a little flip and stitch that way. Just make sure you cut your backing wider or, you know, excessive to your project. You should be able to do that just fine. Okay. All right, go all the way down to the corner. Make sure things are lining up. My flannel's a little stretchy, but that's the love of flannel. All right, and our last little corner, flip and turn. Okay, and now we're just going to start this off. We're only going to give it about an inch to inch and a half, so I have enough room to match up my seams. Okay. Okay. Now I have all this extra, and I know this piece is 2.5 by 2.5, okay? So I take a chunk right there, and I go and I line it up past this point right here. Like I'm putting it on the previous piece. Show you on the small camera and then show you on the big camera. I'm going to put it on this piece right here, and that's going to give me my 2.5 inches that I need. So when I take my top part of my binding and lay it across, just lay it across just like that, I'm actually going to trim right there. I'm going to cut it off right there, because I know when I go to flip those two seams together to give me that angled seam, it's going to fit perfectly. Okay, sorry, I need to, oh, there it is. Sorry, I thought you were closer. Okay. So just to make sure we're clear, I'll show the big camera again. Okay, I've taken, this is where I started, and I'm going to take a clip of the binding that I know I'm not going to need, or you can have just a normal 2.5 by 2.5 at your desk there. I'm laying this one over top, not stretching it, not yanking it, not making sure there's more than needed or anything like that. And that's going to give me my spot right here of where I'm going to cut, okay? Because I know it's going to fit. So I'm going to snip it. That's my extra piece off to the side. That's extra binding that can go to something else. Now we have our two pieces and how to get them together, okay? Well, normally, the one would be flipped and sewn together, okay? So this way, and then this way, and they get put side by side, but to make sure that you're going to get that right angle. And I use 2 pins. You can just tuck it in if you like to. You don't have to go through all this fussiness of it. It does make for a nice cleaner looking binding on the quilt or wall hanging, so it's completely up to you, okay? So I've just pinned it. I've lined the one edge up to the other, and so I'm going to sew from this line all the way down to there. So that way, all the way there, okay? Now hopefully I did this right. Okay, and before you cut this off, just in case you did make a mistake, just stretch it out, and it should be that it just disappears on the inside like it did right there, okay? So you could, if you wanted to, come over 1/4 of an inch and sew down, and you got yourself that other little square of gray to add to the bucket, which I will do because that, you know, got to finish the bucket somehow. Okay. Some people leave it in. It doesn't matter. It's completely up to you. I prefer the extra square of fabric to be made into something different. So I will take that and put it in the bucket. Okay. So now once stretched out, you'll see it just looks just like that. Okay. And you just want to continue with the binding from where you stopped and pivoted around the corner all the way down to where you started. Okay. Making sure your folds of your advent calendar are not getting in the way. Okay. Okay. All right, now, once that's sewn on, you'll take that and you'll just flip it right to the front and do a nice little decorative stitch. Zigzag, straight stitch. You got some fancy ribbon you want to use, or you've got something, you know, a fancy thread that you would like to use up, then this is the time to do it. I'm just going to put a nice little straight stitch down, okay? And of course you're just going to flip and turn your corners. You know, and I could have done the hangings, if it was ribbon ties or something like that at the top, I could have done that in gray to help tie it all together. You know, I thought the black, white, and gray seemed very kind of Christmassy to me, so. And of course you can always make the 25th a bigger square. You can, you know, make them as they get bigger as they go along. You know, it's, you know, there's many ideas. Don't let yourself be limited, okay? And then once we have this sewn all the way around, which will only just take a couple more minutes, our project is done. I can't wait to start filling it up because I'm already a day behind on eating number one. The boys will be like, who ate number one? Like, Mama. Oh, meant to just pivot. That's okay. Just going to turn that corner. Either way, whatever works for you. Ooh, do, 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 do. Come here, you. Now you don't want to work. And I think having, you know, the kids make paper crafts and having it stitched to it or glued to it or something like that is a great way to accent it. Especially if you're making it in the shape of a Christmas tree, all those little crafts can be decorations, you know, whether it be papers or ribbons or, you know, fancy Christmas wrapping paper or foil. You can, you know, just use little boxes or, you know, small cans of, you know, Pringles. If you got those, you can turn them on the side, make a tree shape and open up the little plastic part and the treats inside, you know, and then you could always wrap the little things in paper. You know, even toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls, you can cut them to size and tuck in each corner. It's almost like a little present in itself when you do that. You can paint them. There's lots. Just go look up advent calendars and you'll be like there for hours looking. I'm like, I couldn't find, I kind of like the tree shape one, and I'm like, you know, maybe in a couple years, maybe I'll think of that, or, you know, or do something different. But this one is like, you know what, I really like this little plaid fabric, and it goes with a lot of things that we have in our Christmas stuff, so I thought it would go nicely to get hung on the wall as part of our Christmas Advent collection, so, our Christmas collection anyways. Okay, almost there. Just got another corner to turn and we are complete. Okay. Lift up and tuck that down and all the way across. And once it's got a couple of stitches in the one that's you're going and you're trying to flip and turn to this side, then you can raise the foot and be able to pivot. because you know the fabric is in place at that point in time, right? Alrighty, there we go. Our first mom and pop quilt shop advent calendar. And of course, a bunch of threads to throw them up here and there, but that's okay. You know, and you could have used decorative thread to stitch on the numbers. I mean, it's completely up to you. And of course, you got your little pockets in the back here, just like that. Super easy and super cute. All right, so hopefully you make one. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to have a lot, even just a couple of strips of fabric. That's all you need. They don't even have to be Christmassy. So adventure forth into your stash. Seek and find your new advent calendar. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and we appreciate everything that you do for us at the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check us out on Patreon. See you tomorrow on the live stream. See you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.